Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. This entire universe is based on, moved on, an unimaginable, inexplainable, inexplicable power that is called Shakti. Generally, Shakti is hidden in mantras. Whatever the mantra we chant, there will be a kind of power that only makes the person to lead his life fruitfully. Basing on this, I want to discuss about Shakti as Mantra. It is not an ordinary topic. It is an elaborated one. So, what I did, I made 3 parts. Otherwise, I can't give you the details. So, full detail made into 3. Now, I want to discuss Shakti as Mantra with first part after the prayer. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Avignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. This is in every way both a most important and as well as a most difficult subject in the Tantra Shastra. So, difficult that it is not understood, and on this account has been ridiculed. Mantra, in the words of distinguished Indian, has been called meaningless jabber. When we find Indian thus talking of this Shastra, it is not surprising that Europeans should take it to be of no account. They naturally, though erroneously, suppose that the Indian always understands his own beliefs, and if he says they are absurd, it is taken that they are so. Even, however, amongst Indians who have lost themselves through an English education, the science of mantra is largely unknown. There are not many students of the Mimamsa nowadays. The English educated have in this, as in other matters, generally taken the cue of their Western gurus and passed upon Mantra Vidya a borrowed condemnation. There are those among them, those who have in the past thought little of their old culture and been only too willing to sell their old lambs for new ones. Because they are new, they will not always be found to give better light. Let us hope this will change, as indeed it will. Before the Indian condemns his cultural inheritance, let him at least first study and understand it. It is true that mantra is meaningless to those who do not know its meaning. But to those who do, it is not jabber, though of course take everything else, it may become, and indeed has become, the subject of ignorance and superstition use. A telegram written in code in a merchant's office will seem that merest gibberish to those who do not know that code. Those who do may spell thereout a transaction bringing lakhs of real rupees for those who have sent it. Mantra Vidya, whether it be true or not, is a profoundly conceived science, and as interpreted by the Shakta Agama, is a practical application of Vedantic doctrine. The textual source of mantras is to be found in the Vedas, the Puranas, and Tantras. The latter scripture is essentially the Mantra Shastra. In fact, it is so called generally by sadhakas and not Tantra Shastra. And so it is said of all the Shastras, symbolized as a body, the Tantra Shastra, which consists of mantra, is the Param Atman, Supreme God. The Vedas are the Jivatma. Darshanas are systems of philosophy or the senses. Puranas are the body, and the Smritis are the limbs. Tantra Shastra is thus the Shakti of consciousness, consisting of mantra. For as the Vishwachara Tantra says, the Parabrahman in its form as the sound Brahman, whose substance is all mantra, exists in the body of the Jivatma. Kundalini Shakti is the form of the Shabda Brahman, is individual bodies. It is from this Shabda Brahman that the whole universe proceeds in the form of sand and the objects which sounds or words denote. And this is the meaning of the statement that the Devi and the universe are composed of letters, that is, the signs for the sounds which denote all disease. At any point in the flow of phenomena, we can enter the stream and realize therein the changeless real. The letter is everywhere and is in all things, and hidden in and manifested by sound as by all else. Any form can be pierced by the mind, and union may be had therein with the Devata who is at its core. It matters not what that form may be. All is Shakti, all is consciousness. We desire to think and speak. This is called Jnana Shakti. Through Pranavayu, another form as a Shakti, we speak and the word we utter is Shakti. Mantramayi. For what is a letter which is made into syllable and sentence? It may be heard in speech, thus affecting the sense of hearing. It may be seen as a form in writing. It may be tactfully or tactually sensed by the blind through the purported dots of Braille type. The same thing thus affecting the various senses. But what is the thing which does so? The senses are Shakti, and so is the objective form which evokes the sensation. Both are in themselves Shakti, as Chit Shakti and Maya Shakti, and Swarupa of these is Chit or feeling consciousness. When, therefore, a mantra is realized, when there is a what is called in the Shastra Mantra Chaitanya, what happens is the union of the consciousness of the sadhaka with that consciousness which manifests the form of the mantra. It is a union which makes the mantra work. The subject of the importance in the tantra and their name is Mantra Shastra. But what is mantra? Commonly, Orientalists and others describe mantra as a prayer, formulae of worship, mystic syllables, and so forth. These are but the superficiation of those who do not know their subject. Wherever we find the word mystic, we may be on our guard. for it is a word which covers much ignorance. Thus, mantra is said to be a mystic word. Yantra is a mystic diagram, and mudra is mystic gesture. But have these definitions taught us anything? No, nothing. Those who framed these definitions knew nothing of their subject. And yet, while I am aware of no work in any European language which shows a knowledge of what mantra is or of its science, there is nevertheless perhaps no subject which has been so ridiculed, a not unusual attitude of ignorance. There is a widely diffused lower mind which says, what I do not understand is absurd. But this science, whether well found or not, is not that those who so think might expect mantras, which are prayers and the meaning of which they understand. For with prayer the whole world is familiar. But such appreciation itself displays a lack of understanding. For there is nothing necessarily holy or prayerful alone in mantras, as some think. Some combinations of letters always constitute prayers and are called mantras. As for example, the most celebrated Gayatri mantra. A mantra is not the same thing as prayer or self-dedication means Atmanivedana. Prayers is conveyed in the words the sadhaka chooses. Any set of words or letters is not a mantra, only that mantra in which the Devata has revealed his or her particular aspects, the relations of the letters, whether vowel or consonant, nada or bindu, in a mantra indicate the appearance of Devata in different forms. Certain vibhuti or aspects of the Devata are inherent in certain varna, but perfect Shakti does not appear in any but a whole mantra. All letters are forms of the Shabda Brahman, but only particular combinations for letters are a particular form, just as the name of a particular lettering or being is made up of certain letters and not of any indiscriminately. The entire universe is called Shakti, and it is pervaded by Shakti. Nada, Bindu, Varna, all are the forms of Shakti, and embodied of these and these conditions only are the Shabda Brahman corresponding to the Artha Shastra, forms of any particular Devata. The grass lettered sound is explained later that a more subtle form, and this again is the production of the causal sound in its supreme form. Mantras are manifestations of Kula Kundalini, which is a name for the Shabda Brahman or the Suguna Brahman in individual bodies. Produced Shabda is an aspect of the Jiva's vital Shakti. Kundalini is the Shakti who gives life to the Jiva. It is who in Mooladhara Chakra is the cause of the sweet, indecent, and murmuring dhvani, which is compared to the humming of the black bee. So, Shabda organized or Sabda originates and being for Para gradually manifests upward as Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vikhari. Just as another space, waves of sound are produced by a movement of air, so in the space within the Jiva's body, by waves of second are said to be produced according to the monuments of the vital air, means prana vayu, and the process of in and out breathing. As the Swarupa of Kundalini, in whom are all sounds of Param Atman, so the substance of all mantra, her manifestation is conscious manifesting as letters and words. In fact, the letters of alphabet, which are called Aksharam, are nothing but the yantra of the Archakas, or Akshara, or imperishable Brahman. This is, however, only realized by the sadhaka who has Shakti and mantra Shakti. Kundalini, who is extremely subtle, manifests in gross form in differing aspects of different devatas. It is this gross form which is the preceding deity. Through it is the subtle means sukshma form of ones. Mantra and devata, thus one and particular forms of Brahman, eva Shiva Shakti. So the battle is condensed. It is therefore also ignorance of Shastric principle, which supposes that mantra is merely the name for the words in which one expresses what one has to say the divinity. If it were, the sadhaka might choose his own language without discourage to the external and determined shows of Shakti. The particular mantra of Devata is thus called Devata. A mantra, on the contrary, consists of certain letters arranged in definite sequence of sounds, of which the letters are the representances reigns. To produce the desired effect, the mantra must be intoned and it should be outwardly spoken. By mantra, the mantras are sought for, Devata appears, and by Siddhi, wherein is had vision of their words. As the mantra, the fast of the Devata, by practice themselves, this is unknown. Not merely do the rhythmical vibrations of so under seconds regulations is too called worshipper. Bruhat Gandharva Tantra says, Shrinudevi Pravakshyami Bijanam Devarupatam Mantrocharana Mantrena Devarupam Prajayate. Mantra Siddhi is the ability to make a mantra efficacious and to gather its fruit, in which case the sadhaka is mantra siddha. As a Pranatoshini says, whatever the sadhaka desires that he surely obtains, while therefore prayer may end in merely physical sound, mantra is ever, when rightly said, a potent compelling force, a word of power, effective both to produce material gain and accomplish worldly desires, as also to promote the fourth aim of sentient being, Chaturvarga, Advaita Jnanam and Moksha. And this, it is said to the Siddhi is a certain result of japa or recitation of mantra. Some mantras constitute also what the European would call prayers, as for instance the celebrated Gayatri. But neither this nor any other mantra is simply called a prayer. The Gayatri runs Om, Nada and Bindu, earth, middle region, heaven. This Om great mantra bears a meaning on its face, though the commentaries explain and amplify it. The self of all which exists in the three regions appears in the form of the sun god with his body of fire. The sun god is to the sun what the spirit is to the body. He is the supreme in the form of the great luminary. He is everywhere. He is in the outer ether as the sun and in the inner eternal region of the heart. He is the wondrous light which is the smokeless fire. Let us adore him that we may escape the misery of birth and death. May he ever direct our minds upon the path of the world and liberation. To the Shudra, whether man or woman, and to women of all castes, it is forbidden. But the Tantra Shastra has not the exclusiveness of the Vedic system. Om is the most prominent example of a meaningless mantra, that is, one which does not bear its meaning on its face, and of what is called a seed or bija mantra, because they are the very quintessence of mantra, and the seed of the fruit which is siddhi. These are properly monosyllabic. Om is a Vedic bija, but it has the source of all the other tantric bijas, which represent particular devata, aspects of the which is presented as a whole in Om. Though a mantra such as bija mantra may not convey its meaning on its face, the initiate knows that its meaning is the own form of the particular devata whose mantra it is, and that the essence of the bija is. That which makes letters sound and exists in all which are here. Every mantra is thus a particular sound from the Brahman. There are a very large number of these short unetymological vocables or bijas, such as Hrim, Shrim, Krim, Hum, Hum, Phat, called by various names. Thus, the first is called the Maya Bija, the second Lakshmi Bija, the third Kali Bija, the fourth Kurcha Bija, the fifth Vama Bija, the sixth Astra Bija. That means there are 6 kinds. Ram is Agni Bija, Im is Yoni Bija, Klim is Kama Bija, Shrim is Badhu Bija, Aim is Saraswati Bija, and so forth. Each Devata has his or her Bija. Thus, Hrim is the Maya Bija, Krim the Kala Bija. The Bija is used in the worship of the Devatas, whose mantra it is. All these Bijas mentioned are in common use. There are a large number of others, some of which are formed with the first letters of the name of the Devata for whom they stand, such as Gam for Ganesha, Dum for Durga. Let us then shortly see by examples what the meaning of such a bija is. In the first place, the reader will observe the commonly ending yam, which represents the same Sanskrit breathings known as nada. And Bindu is Chandra Bindu. These are called Shakti. That name appearing in the 36 tattvas given ante. They are states of divine power. Immediately precedes the manifestation of the objects, otherwise, and various aspects of the manifested Devata mentioned below. They are sometimes variant interpretations given. Take the great Bhuvaneshwari or the Nagabindu, Hrim, etc. The Nitya Tantra gives various names to mantra according to the number of such syllables, such as Pinda, Kartari, Bija, Mantra, Mala. Commonly, however, the term Bija is applied for monosyllabic mantras. The word mantra comes from the root man, to think. Man is the first syllable for manava, and thinking is also the root of the word man, who have all extremely are properly a thinker. Tra comes from the root tra. For the effect of a mantra, when used with the end, is to say who letters realizes it. Tra is the first syllable of Tantra or liberation from the samsara by combination of mantra, which from the religious standpoint calls for both Atma Shakti, etc. Mantra is the thought movement vehicle by and expressed in speech. Its Jnana Swarupa is, like all else, consciousness, which is his Shabda Brahman. I wrote all these mantras and explained various mantras, the purpose of the particular Shakti. And it is also a particular assignment of the Shastra towards taking into the mere utterances of mantra without knowing its meaning, without realization of the consciousness which mantra manifests, a mere moment of the fists is a mere movement that of his lips and nothing else. We are the central husk of consciousness. When we identify ourselves with any other form of grass, matter, which is as it were the crust of those subtler forces which emerge from the yoni, is cause of all who is in herself. Consciousness, Chidrupini. When the sadhaka knows the meaning of the mantra, he makes an advance. But this is not enough. He makes it in the home and brings it. Such a person's soul can be accessible. But at this point, throughout is realized by contact with the centurion again, thought becomes truly vital and effective. Then an effect is created by the realization, thus included. Shekantaya Kalyanam Sri Venkatramasa Srivasa Mangalasame Sarvesha Purve Acharya Satkrupayastu Mangalam.